Because I was thinking to myself, okay, yeah, I have a lot of things to say. However, what can I say to a group of her peers that, would be impactful enough where they could take away some valuable tips and not say too much or too little, you know how that is, and just be able to share something that they, wouldn't be able to just Google and find the answer to. So I thought about it for a little bit and I said yes. And I believe that that was one of the most meaningful and impactful conferences that I've been invited to speak to in a long time. Hi everyone, how are you? How have you been? I hope all is well. It's been a minute and I wanted to come here and just share a little bit of what's been going on and also to wish you a happy Women's History Month. It's March when I'm recording this. So if you're new here, my name is Shola and I am the founder of Activate Her Purpose. And Activate Her Purpose empowers women to step boldly into our calling, embrace our gifts, and live the life that we are meant to live with confidence. So like I said, a few things have been going on. One of the things is my daughter, my college-age daughter, invited me to speak at a conference at her school. And the conference was called It Girl Conference. Um, it was a little bit flattering for me for my daughter to ask me to speak. However, as I was thinking to myself, okay, yeah, I have a lot of things to say. However, what can I say to a group of her peers that, would be impactful enough where they could take away some valuable tips and not say too much or too little, you know how that is, and just be able to share something that they, wouldn't be able to just Google and find the answer to. So I thought about it for a little bit and I said yes. And I believe that that was one of the most meaningful and impactful conferences that I've been invited to speak to in a long time. So I wanted to share some takeaways and I hope that this video helps to motivate and kind of give a recap of some of the tips that I shared and some of the things that I learned by doing this conference. So sit back and let's get right into this video. So I show up at the It Girl conference at my daughter's college, and it was a room full of so many brilliant young women, also panelists, a few women who were on the same panel as I was. My topic was owning your seat, and all of these women were so phenomenal, especially the students that came to listen in. Um, they just needed a reminder of the fact that they were already it girls. And it girls really stood for intentional, innovative, transformative young women who were already doing big things, especially by putting this phenomenal conference together. And I was tasked to just speak into their lives and share some wisdom, share some tips. And those are the takeaways. And it also reminded me that our children, my daughter was watching me even when I didn't realize it. And some of the things that I had been doing on my own, thinking that I was just trying to grow myself, continue to step out of my comfort zone. My daughter was watching me every step of the way and thought that I would be a good candidate for this conference. And it just warmed my heart that I was able to come in and not come in because I was perfect or speak to the young women because I had everything together, but because there was something that I could plant as a seed into their hearts and into their journeys. So it was a phenomenal time, and I will share some of the things that I was able to take away from this conference and that I was also able to share. So one of the first things that I reminded these phenomenal young
You do not have
women
to
is
wait until you
that you
graduate.
do not
In
have to
fact, I
wait
know some
for the
5-year-olds that
title
already know
or
who they
the
are.
degree to finish college, to begin to do the things that you've always wanted to do, to become the it girl, so to speak, of your life. And a lot of times, even when I was younger, or many of us were younger, we always thought, okay, I'll get my degree or I'll get the title, and then I'll start to become everything I wanted to be. And you're always looking at the destination as opposed to understanding that it's really the journey that prepares us the most. So I reminded them that never to wait to become everything that God has called you to be. You are there right now, even with the wonderful conference they pulled together as college students that was top tier. Is part of the things that they're going to need on the outside of college, become even more of what they've been called to be. The collaboration they needed, the boldness, the confidence that they needed to put this whole thing together is part of the things that they'll need on the outside, and never to wait for permission to do the things that you know you've been called to do or you're good at. I know that many of their parents, their peers, and professors have noticed some wonderful traits in them, and I just reminded them to keep leaning into that and using the people in the room, the people who they've had to reach out to, and some of us as well, to be the sounding board of their journey and just keep pushing ahead. Number two, and the second thing that I reminded them, is confidence is not a personality. It's not something that you are just born with. Not nobody's born bold. Nobody is born confident. But confident is something that when you start to move, even in those awkward moments, when you're afraid, when you feel like something is scary to do, and you do it anyway, that's where your confidence comes to fruition, and you begin to grow in that and begin to be less afraid of taking risks, less afraid of stepping out of your comfort zones. So I just reminded them to keep on taking steps of faith, keep on going out of their comfort zones in the areas of their life that they felt like maybe they were not equipped for. I also reminded them that many of the women that they see, many of us have had to do the same thing, and they didn't start from where they are now. There was a time in their life where they had to build and grow, and just to continue doing that. And that's when confidence comes, when you take action, when you just keep pressing ahead in the things that you've done already and you will continue to do in the future. The third thing I reminded them was that as they continue to grow, as they continue to climb and develop their skills, to lift others with them and to continue to network. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, your network is your net worth. I didn't realize how much that is true until I started getting older, and many of you started getting older, and understanding that your network, there's a power in networking and building communities. And so I just reminded them that as they're doing the things that they're doing in school, in college, lift others. If you've learned to skill, teach. That solidifies it with you or me. And even if you're not there yet, stretch your hand to someone else. Tell someone about what you just learned. There's a way of just multiplying the effect of it when you lift someone else. You help someone in your class during a project. You lend a helping hand. So, and also it starts to build a foundation of community that you may need sooner or later in your work life, in your career, in your life, in your journey. Just getting that practice of lifting people, of connecting with people, and just understanding the power of networking. And number four, one of the things that was so evident to me at this conference and how I was able to share my experiences is that, as we remember that when we were younger, when we were 12, 15, in our 20s, just remembering that we should be the women that we wanted to talk to and be around when we were those ages, and just be that for someone else, be that for the younger generation. And that's really how we build, and this is how we break cycles, build legacies, and just continue that legacy forward, especially with this month being Women's History Month. Understanding that there's someone out there who needs your insight, your wisdom, knowledge. Let's be generous in sharing that knowledge wherever we see fit. And lastly, I reminded these young women and there were some men in the audience as well, young men, that rest is important and you don't have to earn your rest. You require it. It's a requirement. And you don't want to find out how limited we all are without rest, especially when you experience burnout in school. So rest is definitely something that you have to prioritize, and just enjoy the fact that there's a certain amount of time in the day where you can be productive. But when it comes to the time where you need to take care of yourself and rest, don't skimp on that. It will pay dividends, going forward. And so those were the main takeaways from this conference. And I will just say that it's so meaningful, so impactful, but really what got me in my chest is the fact that my daughter saw fit to invite me to a conference in her school, that some of the things that I have been doing on my own, this YouTube channel, and many other things that I have been developing on, that she saw it and she thought I had something important to talk about, and that alone was worth everything. And just a reminder for all of us that our children are paying attention, and sometimes it's not about lecturing them or telling them, what they need to do, although we need to do that too. But just by being and just by doing the things and growing ourselves, they see that, they recognize it. And I love the fact that she thought that what I was doing was worth sharing, and that hit differently for me. It hit different for me, and the bigger picture is that the next generation of women is watching us all of us. And what I would like every woman in the room to know is you are already mentoring someone, whether you like it or not. It may be your niece, your nephew, your neighbor, or someone just watching your YouTube channel. And just remembering that, and the way that we show up, the way that we develop ourselves is important, because someone else is looking at it. They're adjusting themselves based on something that we've shared, and they're watching how you handle pressure, how you speak about yourself, about your body, how you own a room. And that's what I had to talk about: how you own your seat, how you say no, and how you love yourself. So we talk about so much. We talk about what we leave our children, but maybe the most powerful inheritance that we can leave them is making sure that we are a generation of women that show up for ourselves, we stand up for ourselves, and we own our seat. To be flawed and fabulous can live in the same space. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to do everything right. We have to make sure we're getting out of our comfort zones and being exactly who we are called to be. And that said, Activate Her Purpose is here for that very reason. And I have interviewed so many women who have echoed that same point. And if you've listened this far, I appreciate you. And I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear how you have stepped out of your comfort zone, how you've been the it girl of your story, and just continue to share. Let's continue this conversation and share your tips on how you have continued to show up in your life. Until next time, I will see you in the next episode. Bye.